Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another sort of Convallaria video, and today we're going to be doing another Should You Pull video, looking at some kits for our next Get Together banner, which is going to be MoMo and NoNoWill. Two really good characters, and honestly two characters that maintain their value for several months to come, and probably into the future. When we actually go through their kits here in a minute, you'll see that they both do great things. Now, are they the most overpowered characters we're going to get? No. And if we go to that, that Asian tier list that was so popular at the beginning of our game, July 4th on the Taiwanese server, which is still several months ahead of where global is, you can see that they were considered tier 0.5 in NoNoWill's case, and I totally get that, and tier 1 in Momo's case. Now, Momo, I agree with this. I think when I'm looking through their kits, Momo does look maybe a little bit weaker, but a tier 1 legendary character is very usable. And if you were looking forward to Momo, I don't think you'll be disappointed when you look into her kit. NoNoWill looks absolutely busted to me. Her kit looks nuts. Tier 0.5, I mean, she might win, right now, she might be a tier 0 character in global. I haven't got my hands on her to play with her on my account yet, but I am going to go through what their kits are and show you why I feel that way. Now, let's start with NoNoWill. This is the better of the two, in my opinion, and the better of the two according to, that tier list from the future that we looked at. She is a support character. She's somebody who's going to do a little bit of damage for you, but mostly she's here to provide this massive aura buff for your group, especially at the end game. Her trait, Mysterious Siren, she possesses jump, so she's moving all over the place, can jump over cliffs and valleys and all that stuff. And she gains she possesses jump, and she gains 6% bonus attack. She also gains Veil, which decreases AoE damage taken by 99%, and it goes away after being attacked. It's a 3-turn cooldown on that, but once every 3 turns basically, she will more or less negate an AoE attack. So a pretty powerful passive right there. Her basic attack is 2 50% hits. She's going to be a character that wants crit and crit damage if you want her to do some DPS for you, and you'll see a lot of multiple hit attacks in her kit, which I think scale better off of crit than single attacks do. So this is a double attack. It's only 100% when you add them up, but it gives you 2 chances to crit instead of 1. So there's Dual Blade Strike. And then Thousand Blades, this is her level 1 ability. This is a big AoE centered around her, where she performs 3 consecutive attacks on all enemies within 2 tiles around her. Each one deals 30% damage. So in total, it's only 90% scaling damage to each target, but it will hit everyone in that AoE. And since it does hit 3 times, that's 3 opportunities for it to crit. And that's why I think she'll be somebody that works well with crit and crit damage, which isn't unusual for a DPS character. Okay, when we jump into her skills here, at rank 1, you have a choice between Maneuver, which will let you move again after initiating an attack if you still have movement left, or Infected Dagger, which will give you a chance to inflict 3 stacks of infection. Both of the characters that we're looking at today can apply dots like infection to the enemies that they're hitting. So right here, this is a 70% single target attack, but 3 stacks of infection, pretty good. At rank 3, you have Phantom Dance, which is really an interesting thing here. In fact, rank 3 has 2 skills that you might want to consider. Phantom Dance is an instant. She will gain move 2, so she gains movement plus 2 tiles on this turn. Then if she's within an enemy's threat range at the end of the turn, she'll go back to where she was at the start of the turn. So she dances in, does whatever she's going to do, dances back out. Really, really useful right here in certain situations. Now, it has a 3-turn cooldown, so you can't do this every turn, but if you need to get in there, drop a big AoE attack or something, and then get out, this will give you the tools to do that. But then you have Enchanting Shadow. Now, this is another instant where she will gain dodge, which again will help her survive. It'll dodge 1 single target attack. We've seen it a million times if you're playing the game. And she inflicts vulnerable 3 on enemies for 2 turns. That's a 30% damage increase to the enemies. Okay. I think this is also really powerful. I think there's obvious PvE boss scenarios here, but you might already have somebody who can help you debuff. And the Phantom Dance just seems so cool. But both of these very, very useful skills at rank 3. And you can see how this is a character who's going to be able to move about the battlefield, do her dancing and singing, and do her buffs. Okay, so let's keep going. Rank 5. Here's your reaction ability. You have energy recovery or defense magical. Defense magical will take 15% less damage from magic attacks. Energy recovery is when you're hit by an active attack, you take 8% less damage, but you recover in energy. Both useful. Obviously, this one's super situational. You have to be taking magic damage. This one's just kind of good all the time, where as long as you're living through being hit, you're going to be regenerating energy. Still, pick your poison right there, whichever one you want. Rank 7. Here, you get the skill aggression, and this is a big feather in the kit right here, because for all aggression allies in battle, you get attack 10%, defense 20%, and skill damage up 10%. Skill damage up 10% for aggression characters means Beryl doing 10% more damage with her spells. It means, somebody like Stormbreaker doing 10% more damage with her skills. So Beryl in particular here is somebody a lot of people are using as like a main carry in the game right now. That's a 10% damage increase. If you're using NoNoWill's leadership aura, you're probably just going to take that one right there, right? That's huge. Then you also have anesthetic. This plays into her infection a little bit more, where after attacking, you inflict a stack of infection on the target. So more ways of infecting. And then when actively using a class skill to hit a target with 5 or more stacks of infection, you will put them to sleep for, you'll just put them to sleep for 1 turn. Okay, so you can play with her infection right here. I think a lot of people will probably take this aggression leadership aura to boost her damage, Beryl's damage. This seems pretty dang good. It might be one of the reasons she's ranked so highly, even in the Asian version of the game. Okay, at rank 9, you get your auto attack replacer. She has access to 2 interesting ones. Triple slash is a 3-hit move at 35% damage a hit. That totals 105%, which is just barely better than her basic attack. And this literally is just barely better. 3 hits does give you more opportunities to crit, so I do like that. I do wish it scaled a little bit harder with the percent damage, but it's still worth having. Or you can have Dispelling Strike, which will is 2 50% hits that dispels 2 buffs on the target. That might be better. Honestly, this one's going to do a little more damage. This one might be better for those dispelling buffs. Dispelling buffs is really important. And yeah, I think I like Dispelling Strike a bit more. Then at rank 11. Okay, now, Shapeless Lupine Blade is a pretty good attack. However, it's on a 4-turn cooldown and costs 3 energy. It's single target, physical, 150%. If the target is injured, which a lot of targets are injured, you increase crit and crit damage by additional 15%, and you ignore somebody like jumping in front of them to take the damage. This is something that, like, if you're fighting a bosses spend a lot of time in that injured state. This is gonna just crush them, right? But this skill, Celestial Song, is her thing. This is her like most OP skill in my opinion. Now, it's a 4 energy cost, 3 cooldown ability, just like, well, it's the opposite of Shapeless Lupine Blade. This one's 3 turns. Anyway, NoNoWill gains the Celestial Song aura. Ally aura effect grants all allies within 5 tiles. 5 tiles. Like, it doesn't show that here, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all of this. It's this whole box, basically. It grants them regeneration 2, so 20% HP recovery at the end of turn. It gives them immunity to attribute debuffs and inflicts no active skills on enemies within 3 tiles for 2 turns. So this is a debuff, unable to cast any set of active skills aside from basic attack. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. So she's in there putting this debuff on people. They can't use active skills. This seems nuts. Now, like I said, I don't have NoNoWill yet. I do plan on getting her because by the time this banner's out, like, our creator rewards will roll in, so I could pull for her on my main account and actually play her. I agree with her like high rating over on the Asian version of the game. She looks really powerful. I like that she buffs Beryl. That's NoNoWill. So if you've been waiting for her, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, let's talk as well. Where's she at? Let's talk about MoMo. MoMo is also a unique character. She does kind of her own set of things as well. I don't think they're quite as strong as the last one, but they're pretty cool. Her trait, Doom Resonance. All enemies within 3 tiles of MoMo take 15% more dot damage. At the end of Momo's turn, she gains 2 stacks of Repulsion Barrier. Repulsion Barrier is her little unique mechanic that she has, where she gains immunity to knockback. Each stack increases her attack by 2%, blocks physical attack, and reduces damage taken by 50%. So that's nice. cut 50% physical damage taken. That's pretty good. One stack is removed each time she takes damage. It cannot be immunized, and it stacks up to 5 times. That's a lot of physical damage reduction. It's a nice attack boost if you can get it stacked up a little bit, and she's going to do 15% more dot damage. Actually, everyone is going to take 15% more dot damage, or excuse me, everyone's dot damage is going to go up by 50% if the enemy's within 3 tiles of her. So it's even more powerful than I originally thought. Now, her basic attack is just 80% magic damage in a range 2, and her level 1 skill, Misfortune Erosion, is a nice big AoE, directional AoE, deals 65% damage to all enemies within a 3x4 area, and inflicts 2 stacks of infection. So here's more infection coming out. When Momo has Doom Waken, which we'll get to Doom Waken here in a little bit, the target immediately receives infection damage after being attacked, and half of the infection stacks are removed. So it's a way of like proccing the damage over time, but then removing half the stacks. Not bad. I kind of like that. This will do a lot of damage, especially if they're stacked up with infection and you start proccing it. So, okay, that's pretty good. Now let's look at the rest of her kit. At rank 1, you get access to Energy Ray, which is just a big single target magic attack that does more damage if the enemy has a shield, or you gain Field. Now, I really like Field. For like, obviously where we're at in the game right now, you're fighting bosses that do a bunch of like AoE damage attacks. This will reduce AoE damage by 25% to all characters within 3 tiles, giving a little support to her kit. So you have big single target attack with Shield Breaker and AoE damage reduction Field. Not bad for rank 1. At rank 3, you get Repulsion Application. Now this one's really interesting. You actually have to choose which one you want to do here. It's 2 skills. You have skill 1, skill 2. Repulsion Purging does 90% AoE damage, again, directionally. You choose a shape, you know, left, right, up, down, or left, right, north, south, east, west. Let's go with that. Cross shape, 90% AoE damage to all enemies within 3 horizontal tiles. So, you know, 3 tiles, get them. This one knocks them back 2 tiles and inflicts move -2 on them for a turn. Then Reverse Repulsion does only 70% damage, but then knocks them back reverse for 2 tiles. So like pulls them in. Now I haven't got to use this skill yet myself, but that's kind of interesting. Moving unit, moving enemies all around the map. All right, that seems pretty OP. Or you could take Erosive Power, which damage increases by 10%. That's good. After dealing damage, inflict 1 stack of infection. Oh, look, we're doing more infection. After a single target attack, inflict 1 additional stack of infection. So lots of infection spreading with Erosive Power. 2 really interesting skills right there at rank 3. And like so many characters, I feel like the rank 3 skill ends up being a Castalia option. At least I feel like a lot of characters, rank 3 skill is a Castalia option. Okay, at rank 5, your reaction abilities. You can either take 25% less range attack damage or Erosive Force Field. When Repulsion Barrier blocks a melee attack, she performs a strike back which deals 70% magic damage and, guess what, inflicts 1 stack of infection. This is her like, this is her thing, right? Get this one because you'll inflict infection on people. Rank 7, Toughness. Gains immunity to injured and dying. I really like Toughness. It's just really good because you're hurt a lot in this game, and before you get healed, you don't want to be injured or dying and deal less damage, take more. That sucks. So having immunity to that is good. However, Dark Ripple, also pretty good. 70% AoE magic damage to all enemies in a diamond-shaped AoE. Turns off their passive skills, turns off their reaction skills for 2 turns. I do like, it's nice to have access to this big AoE attack, but Toughness is real good. Now, Basic Attack Replacer. Your basic attack Hypnotic Attack is 80% damage with a 30% chance of putting the target to sleep. Potentially powerful in PvP, potentially powerful in PvE, except you're not going to be putting any bosses to sleep. It's just 1 turn of crowd control, but that could be the difference in a PvP match. Invigorating Strike is also 80% damage, so both only do it 80%, but this one recovers 1 energy. Hey, that's never a bad thing if you need it. And then rank 11, Life Devourer, single target attack, 150% damage. After attacking, you gain 45% lifesteal. Or you take Doom Waken. Now, this is obviously like Momo's thing. You can see it has her picture on it. This is Momo's thing. Instant. She gains 2 stacks of Repulsion Barrier. We've talked about a Repulsion Barrier and Doom Waken. So here's that Doom Waken that we referenced earlier. This increases attack by 20% and gives you 50% lifesteal. It inflicts Alert on a 3-tile radius at the end of the action, dealing 70% magic damage up to 3 times around. So it puts this like aura around her where somebody walks in there 3 tiles, 70% magic damage. Take that. This could be inflicting infection on them if you have that, you know, turned on. Really good. She is meant to like I don't know how to describe her. Like, how do I feel about her? She feels to me like she's some kind of like ghost that's walking around the battlefield, really hard to hit with physical attacks, and she's putting infection on everybody. Like, I feel like magic attacks might just crush her, like just take her down, but if she's walking around a bunch of physical people, just infecting the hell out of them, and with her passive, increasing the amount of dot damage they take by 15%, seems like a fun character to play with. And if Momo was somebody you were looking forward to, I think you will enjoy playing her. I think I also agree, like in general, with this tier list placement for them. If I had to tell you what my feel was, where NoNoWill feels top tier to me, and Momo feels like another one of these characters that if you like them, you'll get a lot of play out of them, and if used correctly, can be powerful. So that's kind of my breakdown right there. I don't think either of these are going to be game-breaking characters, and if you're in save mode for like meta characters, keep on saving, keep on saving. Who knows what's coming out next down the pipe? Again, I've heard it could be Coco, and I can throw this back on the screen here for a second. Oh, I pushed the right button. I've heard Coco could be coming, who's a tier 0 character. And I know a lot of people are saving for Sophia. If that's you, and you just care about like, you want tier 0 legendaries, keep saving up, keep saving up. Play the long game. It almost always pays off at gachas to play the long game, especially if you're a low spender or a free-to-play player. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.